making my mouth water. Isn't that awesome? I love it. Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera Show. I'm so excited today. I'm in my brand new test kitchen here at the cottage. And I'm also excited because we are working very diligently on the VeryVera Cookbook. I'm sitting here flipping through Sarah Foster's books, which is one of my favorites. And I'm getting so excited about the things that we're going to be doing over the next few weeks with the VeryVera Cookbook. So that brings me to why we're here today. I've got 3 recipes that I'm going to share with you today that are part of the cookbook. The first thing we're going to do is a yeast roll recipe. You know, how many of you just love to sit down and just bite into a delicious yeast roll, but then you're kind of scared to get in the kitchen and try to make it yourself? So I'm going to show you a very simple recipe for making a yeast roll that's fail-proof. And then we're going to move into a main dish, probably the #1 recipe and casserole that people loved at VeryVera was the shrimp and crawfish. Delicious, yummy. It can be a main dish, it can be a side. And then in Vera's Corner today, cup of Cobbler is that simple cobbler recipe that you'll want to get the kids involved. So let's get started. We're going to have a lot of fun. Okay, we're going to get started on these yeast rolls, and I got started by getting a little bit of warm water in my measuring cup because the yeast has to have warm water in order to grow. So this is like a science experiment, you know, and I wondered when I majored in home economics at the University of Georgia why in the world I had to take chemistry, and now I know, because so much of baking is chemistry. It's all about the right temperatures and whether or not things are mixed in the proper order. So I'm just mixing the yeast in the warm water, and you can see it's kind of starting to dissolve. And while that's going, we're going to go ahead and pour our melted shortening in the bowl and get that mixing around. So this particular recipe uses your tabletop mixer. And you're going to be so surprised when you see this dough. So while that's mixing around, let me tell you just a little bit about where we are today. You know, I had this little cottage that had a really kind of cute kitchen, but nothing like what you're looking at right now. And we have just completely torn this place upside down and did a complete renovation. We knocked out a wall, we made all kinds of renovations to this. So Sub-Zero Wolf came in and put in all the appliances. Cambria came in and did all these gorgeous tabletops. And it is just the most perfect place to work. So now I'm adding in this mixture to the bowl, and with that I'm going to throw in some more warm water. So this is going to be a very loose dough. All right, to that I'm going to add my eggs. And this is just going to blend around and mix for just a few minutes. And you know, these recipes today are part of the excitement that's surrounding the fact that I'm finally putting together the VeryVera Cookbook. And these are recipes that were either shipped, the yeast rolls were shipped, you could enjoy them when you came to the cafe for lunch, and you could take them out if you came into our place to buy some of our casseroles and recipes. All right, so that's stirring about. Now we're going to add all of our dry ingredients together. So I have plain flour, a little bit of sugar, and a little bit of salt. And I love to just use a measuring cup or something else small to just take that and put it in little by little. And you know, yeast bread, my children, when I was telling them that I'd been working on the cookbook recipes, and I said, today we made the yeast rolls, and they both went, oh my goodness. You know, holiday time, Thanksgiving, and you can make this dough a couple of days in advance, because I know how hectic it gets around the holidays when you're trying to logistically manage everything that's going to be on your buffet. So this can be done a little bit ahead. So as you can see, it's not It does not resemble dough at this point. It's something really loose. It's almost going to pour right out of that bowl. But there is kind of a step to this, because you've got to do this and let it proof. And then after it's proofed for about an hour, you're going to refrigerate it for at least 8 hours. So what I do is I do this the afternoon before, and then I let it sit in the refrigerator overnight. So let's look at this dough really quickly. You see, it's really sticky. This is going to pour right back into the bowl that I poured the flour out of. And we'll go to the next step when we come back. So when we come back, we're going to take the dough that is refrigerated overnight. I'm going to show you how to make the yeast rolls. And then in Vera's Corner, we're going to learn a little bit about how to make a cup of cobbler that is delicious. So come back with me in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody, and I'm getting ready to roll these yeast rolls out, but I went ahead during the break and I put the dough that we made, covered it up with saran wrap, put it into my Wolf warming drawer at about 84 degrees. And this is just to get that rising proofing process going. It's going to take a couple of hours. So if you don't have a warming drawer, just find the warmest place in your kitchen, maybe near the stove or where you're cooking, and just let it double in size is what you're looking for. And then after that, you're going to punch that dough down. It's where you're going to take all your frustrations out on the children that are driving you crazy. You're going to punch that dough down, then you're going to put it in the refrigerator, and when it's done, it looks like this. So remember what it looked like when I put it in the warming drawer. Now it's doubled in size, it's nice and cold. I've got my countertop all prepared with my flour, and this is where this Cambria countertop is so wonderful. You can do anything on this countertop. It doesn't matter. You can cut on it, you can do your rolls on it, you can put hot stuff on it. It is so easy to work with, and is it just beautiful? I don't even want to have knickknacks on it, it's so pretty. All right, so we're ready to go with this, and you know, I'm so used to doing this that I can, you know, basically put all this dough out at once, but I'm going to only put half out right now because we're kind of learning this technique. So I want to get my hands nice and floured, and we're just going to treat it like a little baby. We're going to be so easy and careful with it, and you're just trying to incorporate some of that flour. Now you're going to grab your rolling pin. You want to also nicely dust that. And then what we're trying to do is roll it out to about 1/4 of an inch. And if it gets loose again, just add some more flour, because as I said, there's not a heck of a lot of flour in the actual dough recipe. So you can add more when you're doing this process. All right, the other trick to this that makes it easy is that you want to go ahead and pre-cut all of your butter. So I love the Fresh Market's salted butter. I love all their butter products, dairy products in general. So I took my knife and I cut down the center, and then you cut really thin slices of butter. I'm using about a 2-inch cutter. And I mean, this dough is so soft. And that's why these rolls literally melt in your mouth. So cut your circle, put your little pat of butter, flip it over, and now I've got my pan prepared with a piece of parchment paper. And you just start that process. So if it's kind of loose, it doesn't matter. Again, the less flour, the softer and really nice these yeast rolls turn out. Now you can do a lot of twists to this. You can prepare your butter with maybe peaches or apples or cinnamon and sugar. Lots of different things that you can do to make the inside really nice with the way you season your butter. If it starts to get too loose, and again, you really want to keep this dough chilled until the absolute last minute. And that's about as close as you want them to be. And now I'm going to start on the second row. And that's about as close as you want that second row to get. All right, so I'm going to keep working on these yeast rolls. They're going to be so yummy. And when we come back from the break, we're going to get started on shrimp and crawfish casserole. But before that, we're going to go into Vera's Corner with a delicious peach cobbler. So come back with me in just a few minutes. Many of you out there have made those simple fruit cobblers a million times, but our younger viewers love the cuppa cobbler that's simple and delicious. This is a great recipe to memorize due to its simplicity and consistency. Place a cast iron skillet with a stick of butter into your preheating oven to melt. Next, peel and slice 4 cups of peaches. Lightly sugar the peaches and set aside. Combine 1 cup of sugar with 1 cup of flour, 1 cup of milk, and vanilla and almond extracts. Stir until combined. Remove the melted butter from the oven and add your batter. Spoon the sugared peaches evenly over the batter. Bake at 350 degrees for 30 to 35 minutes or until golden brown. Serve up and enjoy. Maybe add a scoop of ice cream. Look for this recipe in the VeryVera Cookbook. Welcome back, everybody, and we are getting ready to prepare the shrimp and crawfish casserole, which was probably one of the #1 casseroles that we sold at VeryVera. It actually shipped really well too, so people from coast to coast enjoyed this casserole, and certainly I want your family to enjoy it too. So during the break, I went ahead and melted the butter, added in garlic, celery, and bell pepper. And I've got that nice and sauteed. The butter is kind of on the brown side, so it's looking really good. So now I'm gonna add all the delicious seasonings to this. I've got some black pepper, Creole seasoning, some minced Vidalia onion, and fresh parsley. All right. Now, the kicker, because this one does have a little bit of a kick, are the Rotel tomatoes. So I use mild, but you can get as hot as you want to with these things, and they're just, you've never cooked with Rotel tomatoes, it's like the secret ingredient. So now we've really got some aroma going with that, and so colorful. All right, now we're gonna start with the things that really make it gooey and delicious. Cream of shrimp soup. This is a Campbell's product. And I'm gonna add that. Then I've got cheddar cheese and Monterey Jack. And you could use the pepper, you know, the peppered Monterey Jack too, but I can tell you, you can get your heat with what kind of Rotel tomatoes you use. All right, so we're gonna blend that up. And I went ahead also and cooked my shrimp, and you're using a 5160, you're using a bite-sized shrimp, so you don't have to spend a lot of time cutting it into bite-sized pieces. And Fresh Market always has a great shrimp selection. So now I'm gonna put in my crawfish, and I picked that up at the Fresh Market as well. Look how beautiful and orange that is. And this is the shrimp. And I cooked it for about 3 minutes in a 350 degree oven, because you don't want it to be all the way done, because it's gonna cook in the casserole. And I just put it on a piece of parchment paper, then that makes your cleanup go a lot better. stir that up. And when I say this is a shrimp and crawfish casserole, you know, when you do ingredient labels for Costco, because we were sold in Costco and we were sold on HSN, you know, the first ingredient is supposed to be the thing that has the most in it. And when I said shrimp and crawfish casserole, look at that. I mean, it's loaded with shrimp. Now we're gonna add in our linguine noodles. And I like to leave them whole, and then do the whole Italian serving method with rolling it on your spoon with your fork. Oh, does that just look delicious? So this is a great casserole to put in the freezer. Make as much as you like and divide it in between your casserole dishes. Freezes beautifully. I've prepared my 9 by 13 inch pan, and I'm just gonna walk this over. Get this nice and stirred one more time. And we're just gonna pour this in, casserole dish. Look at that. Woo. Okay, and leave some of that goodness to go right on the top. You know, and if you're a presentation freak like I am, this is when you get your hands involved and you pull some of those really pretty shrimp up to the top to make it look just right. So we're gonna pop this in the oven. We've got the rolls in the oven, and when we come back from the break, we've got 2 recipes just like Mama made it, and we're gonna do a fantastic presentation. So come back with me in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. And we've got it all prepared just like Mama made it, which was actually one of our themes throughout the years at VeryVera. And I love the way the presentation has taken just a beautiful representation of everything I love, and kind of incorporated my home in Beaufort, South Carolina, and my love of old things. I just think it looks fantastic. So let's kind of recap what we've done today. You know, those of you that have been shying away from making homemade bread, yeast rolls, I gave you a really easy recipe today, very friendly to use, and can be done in a mixer. We put everything in a mixer bowl, mixed it up. You had a batter that, if I had not told you it was going to look like it looked, you might have thought the recipe was incorrect. So it's a very soft dough that actually flows out of the bowl. It has a 3-step process where you let it double in bulk, then you put it in the refrigerator. You really want to make sure that it doubles. You spend those 8 hours or overnight in the refrigerator, rolled it out, really easy to do. Showed you how to get that butter ready so you could put one in each one and fold it over, and then put them kind of close together in the pan, because when they rise, you want them to be touching so your edges are nice and soft. So I really hope coming up this fall, you'll try that recipe and bring your young person in the kitchen with you. Then next we went to the shrimp and crawfish casserole, which is a great weekend dish. I love it as a main dish with a salad, but it's also great as a side dish with a steak. So if your husband is really good on the grill, you want to get out there, then you can do your part by making this dish. Very simple. We sauteed the vegetables. We added some really great seasonings. We gave it a little kick with some rotel tomatoes. And then finally, we added the shrimp, the crawfish, all the cheeses, just threw that into a casserole dish. But you know, you don't have to serve it in a casserole dish. Then that way people don't think it's the word casserole, which is a no-no in the culinary world. So I've got a beautiful pewter platter that represents a lot of the seafood, and I've thrown in a fish net that I just took some gold metallic spray to kind of cut that bright green and gives it a little bit of a shimmer. If it was a buffet at night, you could add some votive candles. I've got an old buoy, lots of things that really make this look like low country. And then finally, today in Vera's Corner, you learned about a cup of cobbler, and that's what the recipe is, cups of everything. And I'm gonna serve that in a cast iron skillet today, which again, brings the old to the new and marries it all. So, everything here can just be pulled out of your garage or your basement for that matter. Just make sure you've cleaned everything off really well before you use it. And then if you're not a flower person and you don't like to arrange flowers yourself, Charleston Street here in Augusta put this together for us, and I recommend to all of you out there to get to be a friend of your florist, because if you just go for special occasions, he can't get to know or she can't get to know your personality. And I love to be able to call him and say, I need something quick to take to a friend, and he knows me. He knows what I'm looking for. So take that as a good suggestion as well. So I always send you to the website for our recipes, but today I'm going to send you there for a bird's eye view of what's been going on with getting ready for the cookbook. So I can't wait for you to go there and see what we've been doing. Next week I'm going to have Denise Shepard from Yummy Buns in Beaufort is going to join me. I plan to see her at the farmer's market on Saturday, so I'm really looking forward to that. And as I always say on the Very Vera Show, no matter what you do it in good taste, and I'm going to start with one of these yeast rolls. So come back and join me again next week. Can't wait to see you. Can't wait for you to see what's going on with the cookbook.
To see what's cooking with the Very Vera Show, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.